What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for 2,000 subscribers. It means you watch my videos. It means you tune in every now and then to my little channel and allow me to tell you a little bit about the world of supercars, hypercars, and luxury sedans. And guess what? We are only getting started. So this is the beauty that I want to show off today to celebrate 2,000 subscribers. As you can see, it's an AUTOart Performance 1/18 scale Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. And it comes in this really nice box where the model is visible from pretty much any angle, so you can just put this on your bookshelf and you don't need a separate case for it. This was the first crown jewel in my collection, because back in the day I was really uncomfortable with spending a lot of money on a single diecast car. I mean, these days, AUTOarts, they're made out of plastic, they cost €250, give or take 100, with the baseline that starts at around 150 only having opening doors. It's just so tiring. But this is a fully opening, old-school diecast AUTOart. The second one that I'm reviewing on my channel, and one that I will consider to this day to be one of the best value for money AUTOarts in existence. Because to actually be able to own one in 1/18 scale, and it's a Lamborghini, and in metallic yellow, without spending triple digits? Hell yes! The Lamborghini Gallardo isn't just any car. It's actually the most popular Lamborghini ever made in terms of sheer number of units sold. If you count all Gallardo variants, over 14,000 of them were made for 10 years, from 2003 to 2013. which is almost as many as the total number of Lamborghinis ever made before that, since the company was founded in 1963. It goes to show just how much more affordability and practicality a V10 Lambo had compared to the V12 flagships. The popularity of the Gallardo also means that this will probably be the most likely Lamborghini you will encounter in real life, compared to the more exotic and more expensive ones. Now this color is called Giallo Midas. Midas, of course, being the king who could turn anything he touched into solid gold. And, true to its name, the Superleggera is lighter than the base Gallardo by 100 kilograms, or 220 pounds, due to the use of carbon fiber panels for the rear diffuser, the undertray, the rear view mirror housings, the interior door panels, the engine cover, titanium wheel nuts, and carbon fiber sports seats. So when I said earlier that this is one of the best bang for buck AUTOarts out there, I meant it, because even today you can buy this AUTOart Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera for less than $100. I bought this car back in, I think, 2016 or 2017 for 51 or 55 euros, something like that. And with shipping it was less than 70. So back in the day, for me, this was huge. Now, if you remember, about a year and a half ago, I also reviewed the 1/18 scale Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera by Maisto. But now let's take a look at what additional features an AUTOart can give us over a Maisto. So, taking a look at the front of the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera, by the headlights you can clearly see that this is the first-gen Superleggera. As you know, Lamborghini made 2 Superleggeras for the Gallardo. And I don't know about you, but I still prefer the first-gen Gallardo because of its longer headlights. I think they just look so iconic and unique. But perhaps we're going to start first with the Lamborghini badge here. I mean, just look how awesome this badge is. It's a separate 3-dimensional piece with an additional 3-dimensional engraving on the shield itself. This is the sort of stuff that separates an AUTOart from a Maisto, because on a Maisto this would just be like a decal. But this badge just looks absolutely awesome. And now taking a closer look at the headlights. Maisto did a really good job on theirs, but of course this being AUTOart, it's a little bit better. For instance, we don't have any pegs here. Of course, on the Maisto you also didn't have any pegs. But on top of that, just the materials used here for the headlight bulbs, for example, are one step better. And finally, if we take a look at the front grills, you can see that they're actual fully perforated mesh. This is a big difference again to the Maisto, where everything is closed and you just have the mesh pattern on the plastic. But this is actual metal mesh and it looks so much better. The front trunk, of course, also opens on this AUTOart, but unlike the Maisto, we actually have a lot more detail here. To begin with, the storage area is surrounded by this rubber lip, just like on the real car, and you can also see that the storage area is fully carpeted. And I believe that lip exists to prevent luggage chipping away at any hard edges, and also acts as a seal when the trunk is closed. And if you look at the hinges, you can see that they're discreetly placed at the corners instead of being in the middle like with some other budget supercars, although on the Maisto they are at the corners as well. Let's move on to the rest of the car. Taking a look at the side of the Lamborghini Superleggera by AUTOart, you can see that AUTOart gave this car these sort of titanium alloy anthracite wheels, while on the Maisto they'd be completely black. And overall, of course, this being a Lambo, the side profile is always going to be sleek. In the middle we have the Superleggera stripe with the branding on it, which looks pretty cool. And this stripe leads to an air intake on the side. And if you look closely, you can see that this air intake is also fully perforated metal mesh. We also have a vent up here, and even this one is perforated, which is pretty amazing. At the front, you can see that we have a side indicator. This is a separate piece. On the Maisto, it's just silver paint, but unfortunately we do have a peg here in the middle, so this is probably the only design flaw that I find the AUTOart Superleggera has. As is customary for most AUTOarts, you have fully raised windows, which you do not get on the Maisto. If you look at the mirror sculpts, they're also made out of a really nice gloss carbon fiber material. And now let's take a closer look at the rims. So you can see that we have brake discs and brake calipers, and these are black brake calipers with the Lamborghini branding on them, as you can see right there. And of course the disc moves through the caliper as it should, and this being an AUTOart, there is no suspension. What is really nice though is if you take a closer look at that Lamborghini crest, you can see that this is a three-dimensional badge, and we actually have all the details here. And here's a look at the rear wheels, which are also done very nicely. And here we are at the back of the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. And again, you can see that here is an area of the model where AUTOart did an excellent job, much better than the Maisto. And I'm going to explain how and why. We're going to start with the Lamborghini badge. This is a separate photo-etched piece, and it shines spectacularly. You can see every single one of the letters reflect in this chrome. And now if we take a look at the taillights, there are no pegs in the middle. So we don't have like a big black emptiness between the left side and the right side of the taillight. Instead, it's all one big red piece. You'll also notice that these three rear grills here are, again, fully perforated metal mesh. Below, we have the Superleggera rear license plate, and flanked on either side are the exhaust tips. Now, these are in chrome, and the exhausts have holes in the center like they're supposed to, whereas on the Maisto, it's just one big chrome piece that you have to basically color in yourself. If we move further up, you can see that we also have a third brake light here, and this is a separate piece. But not only that, if you look at the underside of this rear wing, you can see that the carbon fiber work that AUTOart used is absolutely spectacular. So now as we move on to check the rear engine bay, this is one big advantage the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera has over the first-gen Gallardo, in the sense that instead of just this entire area being metal, we actually have carbon fiber first of all, but then also this window through which you can actually see the engine. And the carbon fiber that AUTOart has used is a really nice texture with like a sheen, like a glossy effect to it. And these louvers here at the side are perforated, but they are also perforated on the Maisto. So the engine bay lifts up like this, pretty easy, and it stays up. And now if we take a look inside, I mean, you can see that AUTOart did a fantastic job with this engine because we have Lamborghini written on each of the engine blocks. There's a lot of detail here. It's got some depth, and this is a naturally aspirated V10 with 523 horsepower, a top speed of 315 kilometers per hour, and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration in 3.7 seconds. Which was pretty good for the time, considering it was the little brother of the Murcielago. Under the flash, you can see that we actually even have cables and some extra bit of detail that you would otherwise not be able to see. So overall, I'm actually quite happy with the level of detail that this engine provides. It's really nice. And now let's shut the engine bay cover and take a look at the interior. Now, this being a V10 Lambo, the doors unfortunately do not open in the traditional Lamborghini styling. However, as you can see, the doors open really far compared to the Maisto Superleggera, which only opened like up to here, which was really horrible. But with these wide open doors, we can actually take a good look at the interior now. So I'd say this is an absolutely fantastic interior, because look at all those details on the center console, like right there. I mean, you can see that every single button actually even has a label. And we even have like an LCD screen up there. And it's got knobs for the infotainment system. And look at the carbon fiber work down there. It's done so well. This is an automatic transmission. You can see the handbrake right there. But check this out. We actually have an SRS airbag right there. You can read that. That is amazing. The only thing that I don't like about this interior, and this is something that even affects the Maisto, is that we have this mold line right here, which they could have smoothed out, but they didn't. The air vents have a chrome trim around them, which is missing on the Maisto. That's really nice. And we also have these 3 gauges right here, which were also missing on the Maisto, showing the engine temperature, the oil pressure, and so on. And here under the flash, you can see that we also have carpeting, which is really nice. And I bet this feels nice as well. Yep. And you can also see that we have a 5-point harness. And these seat belts here are much more thinner than the ones on the Maisto, and more realistically proportioned. And of course, we also have the dorsal branding. And another thing that you will notice here is that these side skirts, if I can get this to focus, are also carbon fiber. Whereas on the Maisto, they forgot to include that texture. Here's a look at the door insert, fully carbon fiber, with a little indication for the speakers, which could have been done better though, and the door handles as well. Alright, so let's take a look at the driver's side next. So as we move on to the driver's side, you can see that, again, the details are pretty spectacular on this vehicle. Center console looks amazing as ever. But now if we take a closer look at the steering wheel, you can see that we have a Lamborghini badge in the center, and surrounding it, we have a chrome trim, which is pretty cool. And the front wheels, of course, they steer, and the steering wheel also moves along with them, which is good. Under the flash, you can also see that the tachometer and the rev meter are done very nicely. You can actually read the gauges pretty well. They're also raised. And we have the gas pedals and the clutch down there. So yeah, I mean, it's just a very well done interior. Oh, look at that. You can also see that we have a Superleggera written on the side of the seats. It's pretty cool. And there's something red back there. I don't know what that is. Maybe a fire extinguisher? Probably. Look right there. Yep, that's a fire extinguisher. That's cool. And of course, through this window, you can also see into the interior as well. One more thing I forgot to show you. Check this out. you can see that we have these vents here on either side of the rear engine bay cover. And they're actually perforated, like these holes here. They're actually perforated, which is pretty amazing in terms of detail. That's again the sort of stuff that you don't get on a Maisto, but you will get on an AUTOart. So yeah, amazing model. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this little celebratory video for 2,000 subscribers featuring the legendary 1/18 scale AUTOart Lamborghini Gallardo that you can still get for cheap, and I do suggest that you take a look at some of my other Lambo reviews here on my channel, so stay tuned for more content, and I'm glad that I have you on board. Take care, this is Imperial Diecast, signing out.